Massive win in the title race for Man City. Man City have won 3-1 against West Ham at the Olympic Stadium, coming from a 1-0 down, losing position to James Ward-Prowse, who's had an incredible start to the season. I can't quite believe the scoreline's finished that way. Did City deserve to win 3-1 today? I'm not so sure. Obviously, the goals were all quality and thoroughly deserved individually, but it was a kind of 2-1... 3-2 kind of performance from West Ham. I think they'll be gutted that it kind of finished a little bit further away from them than maybe justified. But we'll talk about West Ham in this video. But obviously, the City are the main talking points. Keeping up with Liverpool, who obviously, Guardiola's looking at Klopp, what they did at Wolves, looking at, a tough game for Arsenal on Sunday. And I do believe the Premier League title race is started, as early as early September, because these sides have to get 90-odd points in a season. You can't afford to drop points at the start of the season. And City so far have a perfect record, playing unbelievable football. We'll break down all the goals, all the big moments. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We'd really appreciate that. We'll be reacting to the Arsenal game tomorrow. I don't know where to begin with the game. Firstly, I have to say West Ham's approach was absolutely everything you want if you're a West Ham fan, if you're David Moyes. Anyone that started or played for West Ham in this game, I think their application was absolutely fantastic. West Ham have had good periods under David Moyes against Man City, and then they rocked up at the Etihad, they rocked up at home games, and not always delivered, always been a little bit fearful, always been a little bit maybe worried about getting blown away and being too conservative. They had a go today, and maybe they're a better side in kind of totality than with Declan Rice in the side, because James Ward-Prowse offers this little bit of midfield energy that I don't think Declan Rice was able to do, because I think Declan Rice is far more of a sitter. James Ward-Prowse at points like a number 10. Alvarez gives him protection. Soucek gives him protection. And then Lucas Paqueta is just dominating midfield. I mean, this kid is fantastic. And it's all really down to him in terms of their first goal. He's knocking it 1-2, 1-2. And I'm just... There's a moment I'm just watching him for about 15 minutes. And it goes from Zuma, goes to Aguerd, and then knocking it flat, slow. And he just comes deep, knocks it into Emerson, comes deep, knocks it into Alvarez, comes deep, back to Emerson. He's running the game against the best midfield and some of the best midfielders in world football. Paqueta is the real deal. And I on some level, look, it's not ethical, the betting stuff. I don't want anyone to be cheating or, the betting thing's ridiculous based on the amount of money these players get paid anyway. But for the sake of football in this country and for West Ham fans, he's a joy. He's what football's about. He's real flair. He's real Brazilian flair. None of this Richarlison, Anthony, pseudo-Brazilian rubbish. Paqueta is the real deal. He's how football should be played. Honestly, I love Lucas Paqueta so much. He's absolutely fantastic. He starts the move and he whips the ball over to the right-hand side. Kufau gets it, breaks down the right-hand flank, and then bang, a ball from Kufau, which is absolutely unbelievable. And he's killed. Kufau's killed Doku, who had a battle with all game. He's killed Guardiola, and he whips this kind of ball over the top of the centre-backs for City. And it's an unbelievable header from James Ward-Prowse. And if he gets into those positions, because Antonio will be a provider for him in the coming months and years even, James Ward-Prowse will pick up 10, 15, 20 goals in all competitions every season, because he's got a great finish on him. He's a very, very, very smart footballer, James Ward-Prowse. When he's in those positions, he doesn't get nervous. He knows where to put the ball. I do think he's a fantastic sign as well. His start to his career at West Ham has been incredible. But it all came from Paqueta just controlling midfield. If you're West Ham, I think they applied themselves fantastically well. If you're West Ham, you're a little bit frustrated. 1 minute into the second half, you've had 15 minutes with them in the dressing room to get their heads ready, get them sharp. A big 15 minutes where even a draw is a really positive result for West Ham. But to see Doku running at Kufau early in the second half within 50, 60 seconds, and then to see him kind of twist and turn and then score instantly, massively deflating from West Ham. And you don't expect West Ham to go toe-to-toe to Man City. You don't expect them to beat Man City based on the squads and where their clubs are. But in managing a game at 20-minute intervals, 10-minute intervals, 5-minute intervals at a time, winning those 5 minutes, you shouldn't really be conceding that early, especially to Doku, to get him isolated one-on-one. Who's doing the work to cover Kufau? Now, Kufal had a bit of a... He got taken to the shot by Doku all day long. Got taken to the corner shot. You know, he got a mint error. He got a Lucozade Sport. He got a packet of McCoys. He got spun around by Doku and got sent home to his mum. That's the reality. But why isn't Susek, why isn't Jared Bowen putting a little bit more work into double bank? That's what you got to do in old school football. You got to double bank these guys. You don't expect Zuma to come out because of, you know, how narrow they've got to be for Haaland. But Susek's got to cover a lot more ground and protect. They've got 2 defensive midfielders in that position for a reason, West Ham. Same with Jared Bowen. You know, this 4-2-3-1 is by definition the 5 midfield are meant to be wide. So you're meant to have 2 in every position, you know, in the kind of defensive positions. It didn't work. And Doku scores a great goal. To be fair to West Ham, they had an opportunity. I think Antonio got an opportunity after that to make it 2-1 to West Ham. I think that was before the Bernardo Silva goal. He's thrown goal, and his first touch reminds me why he was a right back at Nottingham Forest in the Championship. You do get reminded of that a lot with Antonio, despite how good he's been in recent years. Terrible touch, and he's far too close to Ederson. Numerous opportunities. I mean, there's an Alvarez free kick that hits the post. I talked about Antonio. Emerson was through at one point as well. These moments kind of all around the winning goal for City, which comes from Bernardo Silva. Alvarez gets the ball on the edge of the box. And Alvarez and Haaland today, weird. They're very similar players in terms of what they want to do. But Alvarez has learned a little bit of how to drop off, how to be valuable to the team deeper. Gets the ball, dinks it over the top of the West Ham centre-backs. Aguerd, awful defending. Awful Sunday League defending. Maybe it's the nerves of thinking that someone like Haaland might be behind you or Bernardo Silva. But Bernardo Silva's flick was absolute genius, and it's the winning goal. And from that point, it could have been 4-5-6-1 to City based on chances. And Haaland had about 5 chances today. He could have scored 5. He missed so many chances today. It's probably the worst game I've ever seen Erling Haaland have for City. Even his first game for City in the league, obviously, was in this game a couple of years ago. Well, start of last year. Wow. Crazy. And he got into a load of space in that game. So it shows you where West Ham are, where they weren't as open as they were this time last year. Definitely improved. And Haaland was awful today. His build-up play was shocking. He's allowed to be awful, but by the way, I'm not being critical. You're allowed to be bad as a striker. You don't score every single game all the time. These are the standards that Haaland's kind of done for himself. But guess what? He scores. Bernardo Silva sets him up. Bernardo Silva puts it on a silver platter, and bang. Great finish into the bottom right. So he's on 7-5 in the Premier League now this season, which is absolutely incredible. And it's just a massive moment for him, because I feel like in the last couple of weeks, whether it's related to the Ballon d'Or, PFA stuff, European Player of the Year awards stuff, I'm not sure. But he's definitely missed a few chances, definitely against Sheffield United as well. So great to see him scoring. Massive win. That if I'm Arteta, if I'm Klopp, it's depressing seeing that kind of win, because City just look impervious, really. So much quality. Doku looks like he's hit the ground running. Bernardo Silva's pulling strings. Rodri is fantastic today. But you can get at this side. You can get at City. Gvardiol, definitely. Kyle Walker, not as sharp maybe on the ball as you'd like. And there's a reason he's not always played for Guardiola in the last 18 months. He's only just come back into the side. So there's some interesting talking points there. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you thought about the game. And I'll see you very, very soon.